Hello guys, today I'm going to talk about Mass Effect Andromeda and if it's worth buying and playing. Now I've based this on my experience playing the previous Mass Effect games, which by the way I've played a lot of, and my experiences playing the trial of Mass Effect Andromeda thus far. Before we get into it though, if you find this video informative or if it helps you make a decision about if you want to buy this game or not, we'd really appreciate a like, as it helps us out more than you'd think. And if you want us to cover more Mass Effect, then subscribing will encourage us to do more. And we really want to expand outwards, so watching this video in itself means a lot to us. But anyway, let's get on with the video. Obviously this game needs to impress. The last installment of this franchise released in 2012, so it needs to be good, and BioWare knew that when making this game. But this game definitely does impress me. Now let me tell you why. I've played this game for 5 hours and I'm not bored yet, not in the slightest. The graphics are stunning, the faces of the characters are a lot more detailed than they've ever been, the armour looks really awesome, and the landscape just looks beautiful, and a massive improvement from Mass Effect 3, and Mass Effect 3 looked really good at the time. The movement in Mass Effect Andromeda is just so much better than previous games. You're so much more agile than Mass Effect 3, and that was an improvement from Mass Effect 2 and 1 in itself, so another improvement there. Something similar to that kind of ties in with the movement is the combat. It's just extremely satisfying now, especially now it's helped by the movement. You can move in and out of fights with ease, and abilities are just very satisfying to use. Enemies play a lot more smarter than in Mass Effect 3 now, so they use cover, and it kind of forces you to either go straight for them and engage in close quarters fights, or you can use your jump pack and just sort of hover and get an aerial view of them, kind of nullifying their cover entirely.
What did we ever do to them?
Careful, they quite dirty.
Or you can just use biotic abilities to hook your enemies out from cover. There's so many ways now that you can approach combat. You don't just have to hide behind cover the entire time. Speaking of which, the new cover system is a lot smoother than before. You can go in and out of cover so much faster, and it's just so seamless, and it feels amazing because you're just so much more maneuverable. You can outsmart your enemies in new ways. Next is the dialogue. The dialogue is very interesting, and I feel like there are a lot more options for you now as a player. They allow multiple approaches to conversations rather than the previous games, which was either Renegade or Paragon. Previously, when doing playthroughs of Mass Effect games, you knew what dialogue options you were going to pick just based on whether you were a nice guy or whether you were a dick. This new system encourages you to be more curious with the different dialogue and allows for a lot of replayability for multiple playthroughs, just to hear what other responses you may get and what different outcomes may happen.
I was just being paranoid.
You know what they say, it's not paranoia.
If someone is out to get you, yeah. Third time this week.
Another thing that I really like though about this new dialogue option, instead of hinting one being blue and one being red, it kind of shows you the different thought processes. So you might think of a more emotional response, a more logical response, a more casual response, or a professional response. It's not really a negative or positive way, it just allows you to sort of really shape your character and approach conversations in a way that you never did before.
That was pretty cool.
Huh. Well, yeah. Guess it was.
Now moving on to the maps and missions. They don't feel as on rails as they used to. You get so many more side objectives when going into missions. You feel as though you can explore at your own pace. The game now allows you to explore as much as you'd like without feeling as linear as they did before. There's a lot more secrets and references to previous games that you'd only find if you explored the different areas.
Who knows? Let's call it a weird alien machine.
We sure could use Sam right about now.
You guessed it, another weird alien machine.
Huh, figures.
Only one way to find out.
You mean turn it on?
Oh shit.
That can't be good. Oh.
So the weird alien machine is a generator.
Yeah, sure. Why wouldn't it be?
That sort of exploration and sort of free roam aspect is only improved with the new rover you get given as well, which is, by the way, extremely cool. Now, the main downside for me is the multiplayer. Yes, the Mass Effect story is, you know, it's a story, you're meant to play the single player, but the multiplayer is something that I really was hoping would be improved upon quite a lot, because I love multiplayer in a lot of games, and the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer was really fun at the time, but with Mass Effect Andromeda, you know, in general just being a huge improvement, I would expect, you know, there to be a lot more content in the multiplayer, but there wasn't. Now, let me just run through what there was in the multiplayer. In the multiplayer, you can face off against 3 different types of enemies, you can fight on 5 different maps, and in 3 different difficulties. Whatever, that's fine. You can play with up to 3 other people, and the objectives are to fight off multiple waves of enemies while doing small side objectives like hacking or taking out priority targets. Unfortunately, Mass Effect 3 had that already. There's a few more objectives, but they're all the same as what was in Mass Effect 3. There's nothing really new to experience here. However, the combat keeps the game fun. It's really fun to do combos with your friends, and it's just satisfying to take down enemies together. The combat itself just keeps the game alive, in the multiplayer sense anyway. There's also new ways in which you can dispatch of your enemies in multiplayer too.
Oh yeah, dude. It's mine. Oh dude, I love this ability. Goodbye.
But these are all the things I've experienced so far in Mass Effect Andromeda, and now I come to the final part of the video. Is the game worth it? In my opinion, yes. Admittedly, I've only played it for 5 hours, but I haven't felt bored at all, and I'm itching to play more, and I've barely scratched the surface of all the content that is in the game. I hope I've helped you come to a decision about buying this game if you were unsure about it before. Now, I know some of you might disagree that I've played it for 5 hours, but I mean, that's your decision. I'm just telling you, based on my experiences, based on the previous games, and in the improvements I've already seen in the new game. But what do you guys think in the comments? Feel free to tell me what you think of Mass Effect Andromeda. I'd be really interested to know what other people's views are of this game. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, please give us a like, as it really supports us, and subscribing would mean a lot to us. Anyways, I hope you have a great day, and I will see you very soon.